It's been a hot minute. It has been a long minute, yes. So you know how when you're working on a skill set, like a new skill set, and you take like a uber long hiatus, and so then you get back into the skill or the hobby that you're trying to learn how to do or master, and when you get back into it, it gets that much more difficult to relearn some of the techniques that you recently used. Yeah, that's how I feel about ghosting y'all for 2 months and ditching my YouTube channel. So sorry. I'm here now. Welcome back, guys, and welcome to my channel. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Exis and this is my channel Exis Does. Hello, how are you? How are you doing? Are we good? Are we Gucci? How was our summer? I could tell you how my summer went since y'all weren't here with me, but we're here now. I'm here now, and maybe in another video I'll kind of explain yet again the big hiatus I did for about 2 months straight. So if y'all ask me what I do on this channel, it is somewhere in between what I do, commentary, and my best. And today we are going to be talking about music industry opinions, music industry trends, things that we have saw, especially what's going on in the news right now with big figureheads. The honorary plushie that is going to be joining us is in fact Amy Rose. She will be joining us today just because I am running out of stuffed animals to use, so might as well just pick her back up again. She's small, she's compact, and she means business. Yes. But either way, we're gonna have a lot of unsolicited, unnecessary, unhinged, but maybe rather tame music hot takes that I have. Just music opinions that I want to talk about, especially with the amount of music that we have had coming in for the summer. My plan is to do one on just music in general, and then to do another one just based on hip hop, like female hip hop, because those two takes, how I feel about female hip hop, are two very different things that I really need to separate. And mostly I'm trying not to keep my videos too long. I want y'all in and out. So without further ado, let's get started with our first take. Okay, we're in a recession. Yeah, the best way to tell if we are in hard times in America is whether or not the music has been musicking the way it should. And based off of everything that has been going on right now, especially with the economy, people not being able to get jobs, the unemployment, I think it is very, very, very safe to say that we are in a recession because the pop music finally, after a whole decade, is finally popping the way it needs to. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I don't know what happened between 2014 to now, but we have been seeing pop music taken very seriously, as it should. It's a medium that people should appreciate more. It's not called pop music for nothing. It's one of the most popular genres of music out there, hence the reason why it's called pop, right? But my biggest concern about pop music is that while it was taken like super seriously, it started losing its fun, carefree spirit, like the essence of what I feel like and what I feel like a ton of other people think pop music is. And so what do I mean by this? I mean, like, you know, the era of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and, you know, Beyonce's Crazy in Love, J-Lo when she had her little era, like that bubblegum pop era. You know, hip hop music was really doing its thing. It was just like have fun, feel good time. Janet Jackson was still in her prime, like that type of music where the work that was coming out, the projects that these artists were coming out were good. MJ, R.I.P. King, was still alive. We still had like a pop icon to look towards. Pop music was so fun in the 90s. And then into the 2000s, it continued to be fun, dance pop music and whatnot. And then around 2008, when the recession hit, there was kind of like this generation of new pop talent that was being ushered in. Like Beyonce was a mainstay, then Rihanna kind of came into the scene a little bit, really figuring out her brand as an artist with her Good Girl Gone Bad era. Then you got Nicki Minaj, who kind of dibbled and dappled into the pop music genre as a hip hop artist. And then you had Lady Gaga, who kind of did a cultural reset and set up the blueprint for how artists were going to create their visions for their pop music or their bodies of work in the future. Taylor Swift was also having a kickstart, Katy Perry as well. Ooh, we're gonna get to her, don't worry. It was just like feel good bubblegum dance all the time pop music. And then towards the 2010s, mid 2010s, I think Lorde came around, kind of changed up the sound. Lana Del Rey, like an indie pop darling, kind of influenced and changed the sound of pop and how it would sound, where we were getting serious subgenres of what pop music is. And it was good for the moment, it was good for the time, but now we're back in full swing with the fun bubblegum pop music. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're all stressed out. We're in a silent recession. Nobody wants to talk about it at all. And so what we're doing is we're just listening to some of the best pop music that has been out in a while. She started off with Renaissance, which was a couple years ago, and Taylor Swift did a commercially successful hit of her album Midnights, not necessarily in 2024, but just kind of prepping us for what the new decade would bring. Then you got new pop darlings coming into the scene, but Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, Charli XCX, Chappell Roan. The music has really been musicking this summer. Pop Kesha came out of hiatus to drop us Joyride. Katy Perry is brutally trying to make a comeback. We're in a recession because the pop music is popping. So I need to let y'all know that. Get ready. If the music sounds too good, it's a sign that you need to get your ducks in a row. So stay on top of your job search. Keep your eyes alert just in case you might get let go from your job, because I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets good. I feel like next year we're going to get even better music, and it's going to be bad for us regular people, so get ready. Anyway, next point. Okay, Sabrina Carpenter. Yes, Miss Mama's Sabrina Carpenter. Espresso, down, left, right. That Espresso song sounds like Say So from Doja Cat. It was basically taking the formula of Doja Cat's sound from Say So and interpolating it slightly to make a bubblegum pop summer hit. I don't know if it's like a cultural appropriation situation, because Sabrina Carpenter is in her lane. Like, I'd say she's one of the white girls that's really okay and comfortable with just being white. We went through that weird cultural vulture era in 2010s where we had a bunch of white women, white people in general, just trying to cosplay as Black people because that was the more marketable aesthetic. And this isn't anything new, especially when a good girl gone bad arc happens, right? Miley Cyrus, Christina, Britney, even Jessie Nelson when she tried to break away from Fifth Harmony. But I feel like Sabrina Carpenter, what's working for her very well is that she has a good understanding of what this era, the short and sweet era, should be. So that's good. And she has a die-hard fan base that saw her grow up since she was like in Girl Meets World, who is willing to stick by her and her journey. And I feel like that is the formula a lot of pop artists need nowadays in order to be successful. As I've said before, the comparisons to her and Ariana Grande are borderline disrespectful, because what has Ariana Grande stand out is her vocal ability, in my opinion. But I can see how people would compare her in regards to her come up, because she did start off as being like a teeny bopper darling, Ariana, with Victorious, and she then transitioned into doing music. She's been consistent, which is good, and very able to give us very consistent eras as well. But I feel like what really made Ariana stand out from most of her contemporaries is that her vocal ability was really good, and I will stand 10 toes down on that. What Ariana makes up in vocal ability, I feel like Sabrina Carpenter just makes up in charisma. And nowadays, charisma will take you very, very far. The reason why a lot of musicians aren't taking off the way they need to right now is because they don't have a good understanding of what an era is and what an era needs to do, and understanding the aesthetic of that era, especially with pop music today. A lot of the pop girlies that have fallen under the radar, Dua Lipa kind of fell off a little bit. Bebe Rexha, Ava Max, Zara Larsson, those painfully nondescript pop artists, they had like their little hits in the 2010s, but what would have really set them apart is if they had a good understanding of what their brand for that era is. And I think Sabrina Carpenter does that well. However, I will say that some of her singles that have came out, like I said, Espresso does sound like a regurgitation of Say So. It sounds very similar. I will say though, when Doja Cat did come out and do Say So, it was just as commercially successful as Espresso, and even, I would argue, even more commercially successful because she had Nicki Minaj featured on her song, so that's good. Yeah, the album's not that bad. It's cute. I might buy the vinyl. Yay for Sabrina. All right, that's enough. Let's move on, okay? Shall we? All right. Next take. Stan culture is ruining music. Stan culture is absolutely 100% ruining music, and I feel like it's making a lot of y'all's faves a little too comfortable in the music that they put out. Think of some of your biggest stan groups right now. I'm thinking about the Swifties and the Barbs. Both of those artists are very commercially successful. We can't sit up here and act like they aren't. But also, both of these artists, I feel like, really push the boundaries of where they should be at in their careers. Okay, editing X is here. What I meant to say is that they don't push the boundaries of where they are currently at in their careers, despite being so far ahead. And that's just my opinion. Peace and love, Barbs. I come in peace. Do not attack me, Swifties. It's on site. I'm just being honest. And I think the reason why they're able to get away with being commercially successful is because of the loyalty of their fans. I will say it is a talent to keep your fans supporting you, especially with the Barbs and Nicki, even when you're pissing everybody off. That is a certified talent, okay? But even with like Tortured Poets Department, which I've been keeping in for a while, that album was horrible. Okay, Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift was not a good album. And let me tell you something, okay? I'm no Taylor Swift stan. I think 1989 was one of her best commercially successful pop hits, okay? Or pop works, right? But I think Tortured Poets Department is basically checking off boxes and not experimenting with the sound. I think she's able to get away with it this far in her career because her stans are going to eat it up regardless. Her stans want that special edition TTDP or PDDP version of the album where they can get the extra deluxe edition features on the vinyl that they purchase. Like, I don't know. I think it's time for people to understand that these celebrities don't know you. You don't know them. They appreciate your support in mass, but individually, they don't know you, they don't understand you. It is a talent to create music that you can relate to so much where it feels like they do know you, but I think we need to create boundaries between the artists and the fans, because we're gonna keep getting non-adventurous, uninteresting music if we keep blindly following these artists who we treat almost like, you know, gods. Okay, and idols. Like, it's weird. The fact that fan bases have enough power to skew the Billboard and skew award shows to make someone earn Album of the Year is unsettling to me, because there's so many other talented artists out there who don't even get a shot in the industry and who don't even like get as much appreciation as a lot of these like bigger celebrities have, especially with the amount of fans that they have in their corner as well. The parasocial relationships have also gotten out of hand to the point where we're ruining people's lives too, like regular everyday people's lives. I'm thinking about that teenage kid who clocked Nicki's tea and let us know the obvious about some of the decisions she's made back in the day and how the Barbs went and doxed him and sent him unaliving threats, you know? Then you have the Swifties who will blindly follow Taylor even when she gives you mid-trash. You have Drake stans before We Not Like Us, like just blindly following him and all the stuff that he's done. Kanye fans. Yeah. I'm finally seeing now that people are not supporting Kanye as much as they used to anymore, but it's just like, it took you this long to make America great again. Slavery wasn't a choice. Didn't convince you that Kanye really doesn't have your best interest at heart. I'm just saying, a lot of stan culture is really affecting the type of music we listen to. I also think that streaming has a lot to do with it as well, but parasocialism is weird and will really be the unaliving of all of us if we don't understand how to separate ourselves from the artists that we listen to. I think it's cute and okay to like have fan bases and create communities off of these artists, but we also have to understand that at the end of the day, they're people, they're going to mess up. Some of them are messing up a lot and doing some really, really awful things behind the scenes, and we should just consume them for their art and not always for who they are as a person, because sometimes they'll let you down, you know what I mean? So yeah, create boundaries between y'all's faves, go touch some grass, create community amongst yourselves. It will be okay. It will be okay, right? Next take. Yeah, so Diddy. I think Diddy is going to cause an upheaval in the music industry in a way that we've never seen it before. If y'all haven't been keeping up with the Diddy news, a little over a year ago, I want to say in November, a lawsuit came out about Diddy from Cassie, his ex-girlfriend, basically dropping a whole bomb on how his whole corporation works, the things that he was able to get away with, all the way down to assault, trafficking, RICO charges up the wazoo, potentially unaliving people, allegedly, and even coercing and threatening people who didn't go along to get along with his agenda. Diddy isn't the only one who's been doing this type of shit, people, but I think when it is all over, when all the stuff comes out, I do feel like there is going to be an aggressive upheaval of the music industry in America, at least. And I don't think it will ever be the same ever again. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not mad at it. A lot of these big record labels and these big execs out here fail to invest fully in their artists anymore. Like, let's just call a thing, especially now. A lot of these labels are trying to compete with social media, which is taking away the attention of so many people who used to see cable television and music as their only form of entertainment. And it's not working. And we're all seeing it before our very eyes. You look at cheap gimmicks like Ice Spice and how she's almost on her way out, and after she only had like, what, a 2-year run? Even down to like the veil being lifted for someone like J-Lo, and where it's been revealed that she's not even as big as people have been putting her on to be. And then you got the Diddy parties and the potential of people, like big celebrities, going to these parties and things happening to them without their consent and being recorded, and how silent so many people are. Like, all these famous people, nobody have anything to say. Everyone's super silent. It's the beginning of the end, guys, of the music industry as we know it. My theory is that we might enter an era of music where we will see more independent artists like come to the forefront, which I love. Artists that these labels did not truly invest in might have a really smooth come up after this, and I am excited to see how it turns out. It's very unfortunate what has happened to those in the industry who have been exploited by people in power, and I hope they get their justice. But I really do hope, if anything, and this is just very wishful thinking, but if anything, there is a complete reset and decorum for how a lot of these musicians choose to go about their rise to stardom. And what I mean by that is there's less boundaries being crossed, less assaults, rapes, coercions, manipulations, threatening that goes on now that this has come to light. And I honestly have to say, I really do hope they make an example out of Diddy, because even when I was a kid, my family was saying, this guy ain't. Like I said before, my parents don't even listen to hip-hop, and they knew. So like that says something, okay? Yeah, the diddler's going down. Mr. Diddy is going down. And his whole empire too, it's about to get very, very real. So y'all get ready for that. I really hope it doesn't put a big stain on Black artists in general just because of a few bad eggs. I really, really hope, because already people are using the, how dare you put a black man down, and why would you do this and that, and it's just like, girl, some black folks need to be put down. Some black folks need to be put in their place, right? Especially with the incarceration of Diddy. That man has been on demon time since God knows how long, okay? Yeah, anyway, Chaperone is killing it. Chaperone is exactly what we need, okay? I love Chaperone. I stand her down. I love her down, okay? I love that girl. I have been waiting for a weird, different, quirky artist since Lady Gaga first came out, and I feel it so much with her. If Lady Gaga is this bigger than life, larger icon that came out in the late 2000s, early 2010s, then Chaperone is like the quirky, Tumblr loving theater kid who's absolutely obsessed with Lady Gaga and is probably a little monster. That went over some of y'all's heads, but if you sit and marinate on that thought, you know exactly what I'm saying. Lady Gaga is very high fashion. Chaperone is very thrifted. Lady Gaga is very big budget. Chaperone is gonna make it do what it do with $300 budget from Amazon Prime, and I love that for her, okay? Like I said before, she was right about y'all in stan culture. Y'all need to create boundaries between you and your faves artists. They don't know you. I really appreciate the ball she had to say that, because again, you guys don't know who these people are. You don't know their everyday lives. You don't know how they maneuver in the world. You don't know these people, and I appreciate an artist who isn't weaponizing a fan base against people they don't like, and who is genuinely just trying to get people into the music and instead of just the idea of them. I appreciate that, and it's creating solid boundaries between their artists. And I think Chaperone, like sitting up here and telling y'all back off, I love that. And I just love her brand as an artist, okay? And I think she's one of the newer artists that I'm very excited to see ushered in and see how she evolves as a creative. You know, she really does seem like she has a passion for music. So I'm excited for her next album. I'm most definitely gonna see her on tour. So yeah, go Chapel. Next take, Charli XCX. Bumping that. After 10 whole years in the game, technically even longer, because she got signed when she was like 16, I think. She really outdid herself with the Brat album, you know, and I'm proud of her. Because she has that same phenomenon that I think about with Tinashe, where it's like, you know, when you first get introduced to them, you're kind of like, what the, like, this is bad. Why are they branding her this way? Like, this doesn't feel authentic. And then they kind of break away from the commercial mainstream to do their own thing, and they experiment with their sound, and then they develop who they are as a creative, and then they come back in and come out with a really strong body of work, and then it just makes so much sense, right? The Brat album is so good in encapsulating who Charli XCX is as a creative and as a musician and as an artist in general, and I love her. I love that album. I think it is the perfect example of the decaying it girl archetype, if you can call it that. You know, the it girl that was once hot in one point in her life and now is kind of letting the culture of being a socialite eat her alive. I love that. I think she really told a story with her album, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, that album has literally been on repeat on my playlist. I really like it. I like what it's done. I feel like it is pop music for pop's sake, and everything annoying, obnoxious, but endearing about pop, with her telling her story of how she lives her life as an artist who's not really famous, but famous enough where people know her, you know, how she misses some of her friends that helped her in the industry, like Sophie, has these honest to God feelings about being jealous and not being like that girl in pop, with songs like Sympathy is a Knife and Girl So Confusing, and just the overall sound and production of the album, taking you through like an EDM journey of different genres of EDM, dance, house, pop music. I think that album is amazing. I think it is great, and I'm so glad that Charli has been able to fully encapsulate her vision of who she is as an artist, because when she first came out with Boom Clap in 2014, I was ready to throw her away. I was so annoyed with that song. I couldn't take her serious. Then she came out with Fancy, and I was like, what is this? Like, I don't like any of this. It doesn't feel like, who is this girl? It gave me Cher Lloyd vibes, like very nondescript 2010 music. You will probably be gone in the next 5 years vibes. But no, she prevailed, and you know, now she made a really good album. I hope I can see her in concert. That's one of my favorite albums this summer, and I have to talk about it. Next take, Tinashe. And I'm just throwing this in because I mentioned her in the Charlie XCX bit. Another one that I have to throw in there. I love her. I'm so sorry I didn't throw her in early, but I love that woman. And what's funny is she had the same type of vibe to me, like when she first came out as an artist. I could not take her seriously at all when I knew her. You know, I didn't know that she had mixtapes and like a whole other sound happening in the background from before she got signed to RCA. But when she finally got signed to RCA and she released her Aquarius album and she came out with Hands on Deck, that song was terrible. I don't know what it was about Hands on Deck or 2-1, but both of those songs made me feel like Tinashe was trying so hard. So what I mean is, she was creating NBA cheerleader music, if that makes any sense. Yeah. In a way that I couldn't see it for her. And then after that, while she was working with RCA, from what I understand, there was a lot of bumping of heads. The higher ups or the people who were working with her didn't really understand the vision that she had for herself in pop music. I got back into her again in like late 2010. And Things to Remember, right? Child, I'm in Songs for You. My bad. And that is when I was like, oh my God, wait a minute though. I actually like her. And I think the reason why I liked her so much is because she was giving me what I felt like pop was missing for so long. With each and every body of work she's came out with, even during her time with RCA, there is an era, there's a sound, there's a mood that's being encapsulated. And I feel like with her new sound and with her breaking away from RCA, she was really able to like fully engage herself in the vision that she had. And I'd say Things to Remember You by, that album, the 333 album, and even Quantum Baby, the 3 albums that she's came out with after she broke out with RCA really did a good job in showing what type of artist Tinashe was trying to be. And I feel like if we have to compare anybody closest to like a Janet Jackson archetype, it would probably be Tinashe. There's a song on Quantum Baby Part 2 that is called No Broke Boys. And the very beginning of that song, that hook, like it sounds like a Janet Jackson song. And I was so happy. Like Nasty has been having its moment and I'm really happy for her in that regard. But No Broke Boys just like took me back to the 90s. When I was not even coherent, but like still it gave me like a 90s vibe, and I love that for her. I love that she keeps experimenting and trying different things. And Tinashe's another one where it really took her 10 years to understand her sound, how it developed and how it evolved into something that is truly unique and original to her. So yes, I love that. Shout out to Tinashe. That's my girl. Okay, let's see if I have any more takes. Oh, okay. Katy Perry. I was about to get into her. So Katy Perry, what happened? Yeah? What, like, I haven't listened to her new album. I will, so I feel like it's too soon for me to really make an opinion about her. But she was like a pop it girl. And then something happened where she wasn't anymore. And I think personally, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Katy Perry needs to leave politics alone. Like, she just needs to leave politics alone and stay in her lane, okay? She is a bubblegum pop, have fun, dance all night, ooh woo, so quirky type of girl. She needs to stay in that lane. She needs to stop entertaining politics in any way, shape, or form, because what made her flop in like 2016, she was trying to do purposeful pop. Girl, no. Because what happened was with Katy is that she tried to do pop that was purposeful, that was talking about like the problem with pop music and these organizations and politics in general. But like low-key, you're kind of a part of that system too, because you're in this music industry. You're also working with Dr. Luke, which, you know, has done so many harmful things to people in the industry, like Kesha, right? And assaulting her. You're working with bad people. You know, it doesn't seem like you fully have a grasp or an understanding on the politics that you're talking about. And at this point, in this era that she has, the album cover looked really good. Like we were gonna get hyper pop Katy. I thought we were gonna get like something like Charlie XCX, but more like tamer. I don't know. I thought that's what we were gonna get out of Katy. But like Instead, she drops a single like Woman's World and thinks that we're gonna take that seriously. Oh my God, so woke, yeah. Yeah, she gets it, she gets me. No, girl, you don't get me. You don't get, like, we've been through this. Like, it sounded very outdated. It sounded like very like 2016, 2017. And then two, it's like, if you're not willing to fully understand the politics that you were talking about, then you should probably leave it out of your music. I think she should have led with I'm His, He's Mine. That single with Doechii, I think she should have led with that, because Doechii would have helped her a lot in that song, especially with her album that's came out. That's so good. Oh my God. I can't talk about her now. I'll talk about her in the hip hop video, but that would have helped her a ton. When she did her Vegas residency, that was cute. Like, that is the Katy Perry I like to see. And I think if she did something as campy and unhinged as her Vegas residency and incorporated it into her brand or aesthetic as an artist, like basically take us back to the Teenage Dream era, the debut title era, just take us back to that, where it's just unserious Katy Perry, but in a more like mature stance since she... Hey guys, so what I mean is, if you guys have seen the Vegas residency with Katy Perry, I saw what the overall like plot of the show was. It was more or less Katy Perry playing the role of a doll that was being picked up by a kid at a toy store. It starts off like Katie's Playhouse, I think, and like this doll literally terrorizes her and like abuses her throughout the entirety of the show. Like, she's thrown in the trash can, she's flushed down the toilet, then she's thrown out in the backyard, and she meets all her like little friends along the way. And the way the show ends is she has a coming to Jesus moment where she realizes, okay, I'm in this toy chest with all these other toys that, you know, this terrible kid doesn't want to play with anymore. I have come to terms with, I had my time to shine, I had my moment in the sun, now I am away with all the other toys and I'm okay with that. And I felt like it resonated very strongly with like Katy Perry and her brand, because she's mentioned before, especially when she was like out of her prime and doing interviews, that she's very okay with where she's at as far as her music career. Like, she had her time in the sun and now she's not as hot as she used to be anymore, and she's at peace with that. And I feel like the residency reflected that pretty well. And so I guess her coming back into the mainstream, I wanted her to tell a story, albeit very campy and very gimmicky, in the same way that she told a story in the residency, where it was just like her exploring entertaining the music industry again, but being a native and trying to make a comeback, and what it's like for her, especially with the newer talent that's out there. Maybe talk about her maturity as a woman. Like, I feel like she would be able to encapsulate that, or she can encapsulate that through like a very campy pop lens, in the same way she did the residency. Like, the residency was amazing from what I saw, and like this album rollout, and just from what I hear from the album in general, it's just not that good. Kind of a native in music a little bit. I think we would have loved that. Like, if she, I don't know, had the budget, I guess, to work with like newer talent that's out, I think we would have eaten that up a lot. And it's just unfortunate, because that's not what we got from Miss Katy. That's not what we got from Miss Perry. We got a very low tier album, a very clunky rollout, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. The TikTokers were eating her up alive. One of the biggest reasons why her rollout flopped is because she was working with Dr. Luke, which, girl, why are you working with that man? Nobody likes that man. And it felt so poetic that like Kesha was able to drop Joyride right when Katy Perry is dropping her rollout, and it take off and get more streams than Katy Perry's album singles ever would. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I said, I love Katy Perry. I hope she goes on tour. I think she did a very good performance for the VMA Awards, because she did win the Vanguard Award. But I think in the future, like, just you don't have to be so serious anymore. Like, you really don't talk about politics. Just talk about music and bubblegum and I know a place. Like, just talk about that type of stuff. I don't need you in my politics, because already like the optics work in your favor a little bit, you know? So yeah, gotta let that off my chest. Okay, I think we are ready for a bubblegum black pop girly. I think we are ready for it. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I want the music industry to just kind of like die the way it is because a lot of these execs or management teams or whomever don't seem to understand that Black people don't just listen to hip hop and R&B, and Black talent shouldn't just be niched into hip hop and R&B. Like they can do so much more. And it's getting very frustrating to kind of see time and time again that someone like SZA, who is an R&B based artist, but has a very unique sound in like folk and rock, a alternative sound. Like she has a very different sound than most R&B artists that we've seen, still just exclusively get niched into the R&B genre. Or someone like Shaboozey, who's a country artist, who is getting his accolades now. I think he's been on the Billboard with his single for a minute, but for the longest time would not even catch a passing glance at like some of these higher ups with a lot of his music. Or even if Normani wanted to do more of a poppy sound with Motivation, it seems like these labels don't want to invest in a Black bubblegum pop girly, or they won't let these Black artists do pop music. Lil Nas X was able to creep on by, but that's the only one that I know that was able to make a splash with pop music. I look at Chloe and I look at Monty and I look at how their careers are going and how the fans or haters, whatever you want to call them, are out here just tearing them to shreds because they are trying to do their best and make do with a situation of a label that isn't willing to invest in them. Normani done told y'all that these labels don't want to give her money, so she has to get the money out of her own pocket to fund her music video. Why are you still trolling this girl? If she posts a Polly Pocket brand deal with Airbnb, why are y'all over here like, where's the album? Why aren't you promoting the single? Why aren't you doing this right? Why are you so hard on this girl when she done told you so many times what is going on behind the scenes? And same with Chloe with her rollout with Trouble in Paradise, which both artists had pretty solid projects this year. Normani's Dopamine was good. It was cute. It was a cute little debut album. And then Chloe's Trouble in Paradise was great. It was better than her first. I'm not really a fan of her first, but you know, it was really good. But just the way people are picking on Chloe, why aren't you promoting your album? What's going on? Why isn't this working? And Chloe had to tell y'all like, hey, you know, they're not giving me a budget this time around. There was more buzz on her when she did first start out. I think there was a lot of things that happened behind the scenes that we probably won't ever know about as to why she wasn't able to roll out in the way that we wanted her to. I think also, again, going back to the Diddy situation and how the industry works, there might have been a situation, and this is just theories, so I'm going to put allegedly on all of this. I also think there are situations where we want our faves, especially our young Black girlies, to really be big stars, really be bigger and great than they ever have been, but actively decide not to because of some things that they're just not willing to do to get there. And I feel like we should not blame or shit on them for that reason. So I think personally, not only is it how these record labels like to categorize Black talent, but I also think there is this idea that Black women and Black men and just Black people in general are just more adultified at very young ages before they get to be seen as like carefree, cute, you know, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter archetypes, and it kind of sucks. I would say it has to do with a lot of, you know, racism, but sometimes I do believe that it can be ourselves too. When Chloe Bailey came out and said that she is basically grown and she wants to experiment with her sexuality more, a lot of Black people, especially Black women, were shitting on her a lot and saying, how dare she out here and bust it wide open, like who does she think she is, and and it's like, a grown-ass woman, that's what she's grown, like it's fine. I feel like we put a lot of pressure on Black talent, unfortunately, and it's upsetting. I also feel like with Chloe Bailey personally and her sister Halle, Ungodly Hour was an amazing body of work that is incredibly underrated, that is so timeless, that I feel like in the next maybe give it another 5 years and people are gonna catch on to how good that album is. They needed to have at least 2 more projects together before they decided to split up. But again, there might have been something happening behind the scenes that we don't know about that was going on, and it's just unfortunate. But even if we don't have a little black pop girly, it seems like we're not even giving like the budget or the eras to our like new and upcoming black talent, and we're just so hard on them, you know what I mean? Let's just give our newer talent, especially our new black talent, a little bit more grace. Let's hope for a bubblegum black pop artist that's like girl cute and cutesy and carefree and doesn't give a shit, and let's just relax a little bit. Again, going back to parasocialism, there needs to be boundaries between us and the artist. Okay, we're the fans consuming the music, they're the artists doing the thing. Okay, let's just woo-saw and relax and let them do what they need to do. That is it. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about some of my music hot takes. Again, this is just a conversation, so do not come in here with disrespect, reading me for filth. You know, don't do that, because you will get deleted and blocked, and I don't have time for that. Yeah, let me know how you feel about some of my music hot takes. Tell me about some of yours, some that stood out to you, some that didn't. Have a great rest of your week, as always. Don't forget to drink water. Okay, bye guys.